Gateway. I'm Asia, and this is going to be a real life example of combining masculine and feminine principles together in order to be able to spiritually see. Okay. I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about by this article that I just read that annoyed the shit out of me. And I was getting ready to write my spill, but I was just like, I'm just going to make a video about it because is to give a different type of perspective and a different way of seeing. Now, I read an article, and let me tell you, it wasn't even an article. I read a heading, okay, an announcement. What this is what they wanted to announce. So first, you have to have that understanding that they're bringing something to the forefront. They're bringing something to our attention. They want something. They have something for us to see. So whenever we're looking at a news or any type of advertisement, we know that they are bringing something to our attention. They are trying to solicit whatever they can from us, as us being the observer of whatever they are giving us. So first, we have to recognize that point. And so they're bringing to attention about California Gavin Newsom, Governor Gavin Newsom, being criticized about once again not wearing his mask. So there's so many angles to look at this, but we are going to use the masculine and feminine, the positive and the negative aspects to look at these things. Because once we're able to spiritually see, we can see on a spectrum, or see on what is a good word to call it? See on see a fuller view by combining positive and negative aspects, right? Instead of just looking at negative aspects or just looking at positive, we're looking at both, and then we're able to have a clear view about the holistic situation. Okay, so positivity, if we want to look at the positive things about this, okay, there's many. There's many things that we can come up with that's positive, right? Just depending on whoever's angle and however they feel about Gavin Newsom, or if they're in their feelings or not about a certain situation. But when we look at things objectively, we can see things without the necessary need for emotions. But just to use our emotions as a way of sensing things. So, he's being criticized for not wearing his mask. If you're a person that believes that everybody should wear a mask, that's questionable already. That belief. Um, but see, you can take that perspective of some, people who believe that everybody needs to have a mask on. And then we have the perspective of him continually not having his mask on. So once again, he's not following his own guidelines, right? He's trying to tell everybody else what to do. And he ain't even doing the shit himself. So that implies shit right there. Like, what's up with that? And obviously, he doesn't feel he needs to have a mask on, right? Because he's in a comfortable situation enough where he ain't got to wear that shit. And he wasn't even tripping about it until somebody brought it to everybody else's attention. So now maybe this might be something he feel he need to address. But that's another way of looking at it. I wouldn't necessarily say that's a positive thing. I would say that's more of a negative light, a lower light, a more darker light. The way we use these terms and these words and stuff like that. But in a more positive light, we get to see what these people, are actually doing, who are writing this legislature and telling everybody else what to do. But when we look at the negative side of things, which we can reference that to the more spiritual side of seeing what's going on behind this veil, this situation right here, because it's definitely a veil, because none of us who are maybe watching this or weren't there don't necessarily know. So that's already a perception of illusion. We get an image to look at, to base our conclusions off of, and whatever we feel invested into looking into. But If we weren't there, we don't know the entire situation. Just like he came out and said what he said. So that's also that's a more darker way of seeing it, because we don't have a clearer picture. It's not something that's necessarily in the light for everybody who is viewing this article, because we weren't there to see. The light is brighter there, right? Because we were there to actually witness or whatever, but we're not. So we're already in the dark, and somebody's bringing that to the light for our attention to see. Okay, whoever they are. That's Channel 2 News. The article that I looked at, or Fox News, something, because I don't even watch the news. But I looked at an article on Facebook. Um, okay, so yeah, so we weren't there to see it. That we're in the dark about the situation until it's brought to our attention to the light. Okay, and so the whole, not the whole, but another aspect of seeing this is like, should we should we all be required to wear a mask? That's still yet to be seen by whoever who can't see that because it's definitely a belief that everybody is supposed to be wearing a mask. And that's a belief that many people subscribe to, because is it an actuality? Is it a reality for everybody else? No, because not everybody is wearing masks, just period. We all take that shit off at some point in time, and then whoever participates in this society puts it on whenever it need be. And those who are scared to death are walking around with all type of shit. It's just different levels of the spectrum of people who are wearing it and who are not, the positive and negative. This is a way to scientifically see everyday situations and everyday moments that we go through, and not have to necessarily be in a belief system about shit. Because a lot of people can't recognize belief, because we haven't been taught to, because it's definitely used. People have a limited perception on what belief is and what it actually means. And usually they identify belief with some type of religious system, or not believing in something, just not if something seems outside of a belief. But that's the thing. But we don't know how much we're using belief in our everyday lives, especially when it comes to information, because we don't take the time to invest in things anymore. So should we all be should we all be wearing masks? Hell no. And that's very much a belief system, okay? Because in actuality, and when we all can come together and observe, we can come to the conclusion that everybody is not wearing a mask, and everybody does not believe that. So that isn't real. Right there is an illusion. It's a cover. It's a color, okay? There's many ways to describe these things of blinding people from seeing the truth of the situation. And the truth of the situation is, don't nobody have to fucking wear a mask, just period. That's people who are instituting their belief, their will, okay, and to put some type of enforcement on everybody else, especially when our judicial system is everything about liberty and freedom. So when you have government and corporate institutions inserting their wills on individuals, okay, that is a sense of infringement on freedoms. And what they doing is using this emergency situation as if we are still in an emergency situation after 2 years. So I'm just trying to figure, you start to come to conclusions for yourself when you really invest your time into like real life situations, and people can't recognize real life situations because we're in so many belief systems about things. And once you adopt that belief, right, that everybody should have a mask on, then you automatically fall under that pyramid of believing and acting and thinking that everybody should be wearing a mask. So your frame of mind will be in that spectrum, instead of you being able to see that everybody has free will. We don't need to be told what to put on our face. Not everybody believes that. Other people have different ways of seeing health. The health isn't dictated by the medical society and the government. Um, Instinctively, we know these things, right? But we don't see our investment in these type of systems, and not recognizing other points of view, other ways of seeing things. And it's about, man, because it's coming a point in time where people going to have to defend these things that they believe in, because it's not the way that it is anymore. We are in a whole a whole nother time. People don't even have an understanding of time and how important it is to recognize that, and know what that is, because it has everything to do with us individually and collectively and universally. They don't teach about this. So when we coming to Gavin Newsom wearing a fucking mask, and us not even recognizing how trivial that is for that to even be on the fucking news, about this man tattletelling that he don't have his fucking mask on. That's very childish. How about his crooked behavior? How about that? How are we investigating that? No, we ain't doing none of that shit. And then people want to talk about people wearing a mask. The shit is dumb. The shit is dumb. This nigga over here, yeah, when you're talking about this nigga got a mask on, who fucking cares if he got his mask on? You feel me? Why are you mad at somebody wearing a mask? And when they don't, when knowing damn well you take your mask off, and this shit just don't make no sense. But this is the trivial things that they put on the news for people to be entertained and get in their feelings about. How they feel about whether he should wear a mask or not. How they feel that everybody should have a mask on. And it just comes into meaningless, pointless conversations, instead of us addressing things that really need to be addressed, about why the fuck is y'all enforcing this in the first place. Like, what is really going on here? We skip over so many things because of different belief systems. And yeah, that's not going to keep that's not going to keep going down. It's like people really going to have to start defending these things that they're saying. And by being a spiritual being, I know that deals with me too, with things that I say. That's why I feel comfortable in saying the things that I say, because I can really back whatever I say up. I know. So that's the powerful thing about being informed about the actual world, the spiritual essence of the world, and knowing about what's going on in this fake ass society that we live in, through their many different veils that they continue to thrive in. But we're not in the time of that anymore. People are starting to wake up, and we're not going to be having this shit. We ain't having it. So, the more people wake up, they start to step into their actual power and take over these things, come into their full expression of life, their full expression of who they are supposed to be in this world. And then people gonna do what they need to do for themselves, and we gonna figure this shit out. We gonna have to, because we can't continue living like this. I know that.